fuck? I was looking really confused. I asked him what he was talking about. So he said he had a friend, a guy named was Christopher. Everybody else called him Chris, but my cousin just liked to be different. So he said instead of calling the guy Chris, he would call him Stuffer, for the end of his name. I told him that was a cool story. I also asked him not to call me that ever again. Unfortunately, my brothers were home. They heard the whole story. They thought it was real funny. So it's just been my nickname ever since. So if you're wondering how you spell Stuffer, it's like Stuphpha. So y'all say with me, Stuffer.
Stuffer.
Okay, sounds like it's too hard for y'all. Whatever. Okay, Chris is fine. Okay, Chris is fine, but it's not that hard. Stuffer, not okay? All right. Sounds like somebody got it up here. Okay, whatever. But anyway, we got tour started right here on Canal Street. Now this is the main street running straight through New Orleans. It runs from pretty much the south part of the city to the north part. So it runs from the Mississippi River, which is straight ahead, and it runs all the way behind to Lake Pontchartrain. They planned on making this into a canal. They wanted to connect the river to the lake, but they actually started the project. They stopped about halfway through. They started to pave it up, and they just named it Canal Street. Okay. Now right here on the left side of the bus, we have this little divider that's separating the traffic on Canal Street. This little strip of land right here in the middle. Where y'all are from, what do y'all call these little dividers where y'all from? This little thing in the middle.
Median.
Median. Okay, I've heard median or medium or something like that. In New Orleans, we don't use those M words. We call this on the left a neutral ground. Neutral ground. So we call it that because it actually was a neutral ground. It divided two different municipalities. So on the left side of the bus, that's the French quarters. Originally, it was the French quarters. That's where the French and the Spanish and the natives and the Africans lived. After the Louisiana Purchase came, the Americans came down, and they actually tried to live amongst the French, but they really didn't get along. The French, they didn't really like the Americans. The Americans were kind of snobby. And plus, the American guys kept trying to take all the French ladies. The French guys was not playing that, okay? So, the Americans actually lived on the right side of town. Today, it's called the Business District. It used to be called the American Sector, or the Faubourg St. Mary. That was the American side of town, okay? So, when they wanted to talk some business, settle a beef, sign a contract, things like that, they would meet at the neutral ground. They would be in plain view of everybody on Canal Street, and hopefully that way nothing crazy would happen. Nobody get beat up or stabbed or shot or disappear, stuff like that. So we don't know nothing about no mediums or whatever y'all call it. We call it a neutral ground in New Orleans. Okay, that's kind of a way to know somebody's from New Orleans. Also, if somebody say, yeah, I'm from New Orleans, they're probably not from New Orleans. Okay, we don't really say it like that. Most locals, we kind of like drop the OR. It's kind of like an AW, New Orleans. Okay. All right, cool. So y'all got that part. Coming up on the right side of the bus, y'all, the casino used to be called Harris. Now it's called Caesars. They just remodeled it. It's all nice and pretty. Did anybody go in here and hit the jackpot just yet? Okay, sounds like they taking y'all money. Okay, whatever, cool. If you hit the jackpot, call me. Look, right over here on the left side of the bus, y'all. I'll come and help y'all spend all the money at the shops at Canal Place. So you have Saks Fifth Avenue, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Tiffany and Company, all the nice shopping for the ladies especially, okay? But the casino, it is really nice. It's a smoke-free casino. They have some new restaurants. Chef Emeril Lagasse, he has a new restaurant inside the casino, so check it out. Also downtown, right, the big tall buildings you see downtown, right? There used to be the International Trade Center, but nowadays it's the Four Seasons Hotel. If you go up at the top, we have a little museum called View Orleans. V-U-E Orleans. It's an indoor-outdoor observation deck. It's like a 360 view. You can see of the whole city, the downtown area. It's like a little small museum. Talks about the history and Mardi Gras and things like that. So that's at the top of the Four Seasons, that big tall building over there, town, right? It's called View Orleans. Also downtown, right, you can see like a green glass building kind of straight ahead, town, right? That's the Audubon Aquarium, one of the top 10 aquariums in the country over that town, right? Also inside the aquarium, we have the Audubon Insectarium. Anybody ever been to an insectarium? No? Okay, whatever. It's pretty cool though. Check it out. You go there. It's like butterflies and different kind of bugs. Check out the gift shop. Get like a cockroach on a stick, grasshoppers, things like that. A lot of good protein. Heard they kind of crunch like a potato chip. I don't know if y'all like potato chips, but whatever. That's what they have over there. So that's the aquarium. We also have Audubon Zoo and the Audubon Park uptown in the Garden District. So check out that stuff, y'all. An easy way to get around town. So if you look at our left, on the neutral ground, we have these streetcars that travel throughout New Orleans. Y'all might call them trains, or I don't know what y'all call them when y'all from, but we call them streetcars in New Orleans. Basically, it costs $1.25 to catch a streetcar. That's for one ticket. $3 will get you a 24-hour pass.
Wow.
If you want to be here for a whole weekend, there's also 3-day passes and 5-day passes. But for one ticket, it's $1.25. For 24 hours, it's a $3 pass. If you don't carry cash, the streetcars are cash only. There is an app. You go to the App Store or Google Play or whatever, and you download an app called La Pass, L-E Pass, and you can buy tickets through the app. La Pass, L-E Pass, okay? But the streetcars pretty much get you everywhere you need to go. It goes down to City Park. I'm going to show you all the Garden District later on. It goes through the Garden District so you can see all the big mansions. It goes up and down the river. So very useful, easy way to get through the city using a streetcar. Now we're actually in the French Quarters. The whole city of New Orleans is not the French Quarters. The French Quarters is just the original part of New Orleans. It's only 8 by 12 blocks. An easy way to tell the difference. In the French Quarters, look to our left, y'all. The streets are very, very narrow, very tight, narrow streets in the French Quarters. All one-way streets, okay? Also, you notice the buildings are pretty short in the French Quarters. If you cross behind us, cross Canal Street to the American sector, you see all the big, tall buildings, the skyscrapers. In the French Quarters, they don't have all those tall buildings. Most of these buildings have been since the 1800s. They didn't build all those big, tall buildings. They didn't have the equipment to build all those big, tall buildings during that time. You'll notice things like this in the French Quarters. Look over to our left, y'all. Right here where this guy's walking, munching on some food. There's a green door. It has a 223 on the glass. Y'all see that door to our left? 223 on the glass? Y'all see it? Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you notice anything strange about the door with the 223 on the glass? Anything strange you notice?
It's narrow.
Very narrow, very narrow. But also look at the keyhole in the doorknob. Way down low. Look at that mail slot. Way down low at the bottom of the door. Almost by your kneecaps. That's because when the French guys lived here, early 1800s, they were little dudes. You know, like Napoleon, he was only about 5'5", 5'6", little tiny little fella. You know, so you'll see things like that in the French Quarters because we save the architecture. We're trying to preserve the history. The French Quarters was actually looking pretty bad in the early 1900s, but some of the local residents, they didn't want to tear it down. They actually put together something called the Vieux Carré Commission. Vieux Carré Commission. So Vieux Carré, that means old square in French. The commission job is to preserve all the history. So every building in the French Quarters looks the same way it looked in the 1930s, basically.